everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Beautiful You. I'm your host Avantika. This is a very special episode for me because the guest that we have, she's such a close and dear friend of mine. We'll get into that later, but welcome Wafa to the podcast. She's a digital entrepreneur with Trichotillomania and ADHD. She turns her challenges into a force for awareness and change, proving success and mental health struggles can coexist. Dive into this episode, you guys know I advocate for therapy all the time. Beautiful You encourages you to seek the right professional help and care for you. This is where Amaha comes in. Amaha is a mental health care organization offering scientifically driven and evidence-based high-quality care through therapy, psychiatry, their community support, and self-care app. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, or any other severe condition, Amaha has about 140 plus psychologists and psychiatrists working to support you. You can access therapy and psychiatry services online as well as in person through their centers in Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai. Beautiful You listeners get a special discount. Use the code BY50 to get 50% off your first session with Amaha. Just download their app. It's called Amaha, AMAHA, or visit their website to book your first session with Amaha. And if you know someone who is struggling with mental health, share the love and the discount. Let's make mental health care accessible for everyone together. Invest in your mental health. You deserve it. Welcome to the podcast, Papa.
Thank you, Avantika. It's a big pleasure to be here with you today. Since I'm a big supporter of the podcast and of the initiatives you've taken, I think you are filling a gap that's been existing for the recent years and on which we were not shedding enough light. So I'm so happy to be part of this today.
Thank you so much for being here. So it's very interesting how we met. I would just like to talk about that a little bit. So we met back in August of 2022. I was on a solo trip to France and I was living in Paris for 4 days. I met her through couchsurfing. For those who don't know what couchsurfing is, it's in the travel community. You can basically host people who are travelers into your house, or you can, like, if you're a traveler, if you're going to some place, you can stay at local people's places. It's a good way to meet localites, and it's a good way to have cultural exchange done. I was initially going to stay with Wafa for 2 days in Paris, and I had so much fun that I ended up staying for 4 days. It was an amazing time, definitely a highlight from the entire trip. So yeah, it's crazy to me how we met on couchsurfing back in 2022, and we continue to stay in touch and continue to be friends, and now we are here recording an episode, shedding light into mental health advocacy. So excited.
Yeah, I'm just going to add to that. That's when you visited me, I didn't think much of it. I thought you seemed like a very cool, interesting girl. But what made me like accept to host you was the fact that you were like a very young girl traveling on her own from India in France. And I thought, oh, wow, she's a little girl, and I feel like I need to protect this girl, and I need to take care of her. And then you ended up coming to my place, and I realized that you were not the little girl I expected. You were a woman full of ideas, of dreams to change the world and to have an impact. And it's fastly it changes from this girl who I wanted to host to a woman who is a source of inspiration, and with whom I really want to remain friends, and I want to follow up what you are doing in the mental health realm. So I'm so happy that our paths have crossed and that we are here today.
Same. I'm so glad that honestly, that we are here today. And like, I knew that the minute I saw your profile, I knew we would get along really well. And I'm not wrong about that. We got along really well. Like the first night that we spent together, we spent talking all night, and it was incredible. We had to like stop actively, like make an effort to stop talking and then be like, oh, okay, now we need to sleep. That was the first night. It was like it felt like, oh, we are sisters, that we're catching up after a long time. It didn't feel like strangers at all, that who are meeting for the first time ever. It was incredible. So yeah, So excited about it.
I think if we have recorded that night, it would have made like a very good podcast, a very long one, but yes, a very, very good on how people like can meet for one night and become like best friends if they open up, if they are ready to be vulnerable one with the other, and if they are growth oriented and willing to talk about things in order to change them and to do things about them.
Dude, that's a very interesting podcast idea actually. If someone takes that up, that's a really interesting podcast idea where you just record candid conversation with strangers and see how people connect and everything. And it's like, it's when you truly open yourself up to possibilities of, meeting someone new and getting to know someone better and everything, the way that you would connect with each other instantly. That's a really good podcast idea. Like, people could just create a series out of it. Damn. So
Us.
I so just recently, like, I went on a trip back in like late March. So it's been what, 3 weeks at this point. And I started doing this thing. I saw a reel sometime last year where this person had a diary with them, and he would ask travelers certain questions like, what makes you happy, or something like that, like a wholesome nice question. And I started making that diary, so I have a book with me now, and every time I'll be traveling, I'll be going to travelers and being like, oh, can you fill up some questions in my book? So
So you will have a map of what makes people happy all around the world. That's an interesting map idea.
yes. So
Yeah.
so yeah, like, I filled up, I asked about like 7 8 people from the last trip, and it was just so wholesome to like look back on it all together and just see how varied answers are that people have. Honestly, it's very wholesome. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the episode. And so, for those who don't know, for our listeners who don't know what trichotillomania is, could you give us a brief overview on trichotillomania?
Sure. Trichotillomania, despite the fact that it's not very known, it affects up to 2% of the population, at least in the United States. And it is of the family of BFRBs, which stands for body focused repetitive behavior. So, as it sounds, it is a focus on the body, and it consists in like pulling out your own hair repetitively in a very repetitive way. This repetitive way could become like automatic and even unconscious for some people. And it is triggered by different factors. It could be stress for some, it could be anxiety, as it could be just boredom, or it could be just like an automatic behavior that doesn't have any factors triggering it. It's generally uh, triggered at the moment of puberty for the first time for the majority of people, although it also affects kids and babies. Um, but those are like some cases that are not the majority. It is a very complicated disorder because first of all, like it is stigmatized a little bit, like it's accompanied, it goes hand in hand with kind of like shame, because it is caused by our own hands, and the person who struggle with this disorder generally feel ashamed and frustrated because it was them who did that for themselves, and they find it hard to justify as a disorder or like as something external. uh, it is complicated because of the taboo that goes with it, and also because it's got like multiple dimensions to it. It consists in a physical gesture that has consequences. Generally, it could be bald spots in the scalp, in the eyebrows, in the eyelashes. Let's go. It could affect all those zones of the body that have hair. Um, so it's got this physical dimension, and it creates this scope, or this area that we can see that something is wrong with her. And and then like people like feel ashamed about this physical dimension, and also like feel ashamed because they did that to themselves. So it's got like a physical dimension and a psychological dimension, that is shame, frustration, social isolation, having a low self-esteem, etc. And it's a feedback loop because you do the physical acts, it causes physical consequences, it affects your image of yourself, and then to escape from this you do it again. So it's like loopy, and it could go like that for like long periods, and affect people very very badly on a very physical as much as like mental and psychological level.
Oh.
There have been studies so far, and we don't know what causes it like with accuracy, but we know that like it could be triggered like there is some genetic component to it. I'm not a scientist, so I am reporting what is the state of art. So there is like a genetic component as an environmental, let's say like it's nature and nurture dimension to it.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
hope uh, I hope this was clear.
Yes, yes, yes. It was. It was. It did give us an insight. So, when were you diagnosed with it?
Um, Actually, trichotillomania is one of those disorders that I don't know if you can say properly that you were diagnosed or not, because generally it's like I think the moment it shows up, the moment you create your first bold spot and you think, uh, what the heck did I do to myself? I think at that particular moment uh, you are diagnosed. And I think maybe like, okay, you are not diagnosed, or like if you do it punctually, but if this kind of episodes keep of like repeating themselves like over and over at during your life, let's say that you will know on your own that you have this condition, because if you go and you see a psychiatrist, a psychologist, uh, actually, it's therapy is like a must. It helps you to take control over it. But at the same time, I think nobody can like know that you have it. Like it's like you don't need anybody to come and confirm it for you. Like it's showing, it's physical. You see it. So I got diagnosed with it like officially from a doctor when I went to a psychiatrist just the first time, and I just shown them my hair, and they were like, "Oh, okay, I see what that is." But let's say I diagnosed myself with that when I was a kid, like I was 13 years old, and I started to have um, this crazy urge. Actually, I felt like a crazy urge to do it. And I remember I used to spend like nights not sleeping and doing only that, and it was like my little dirty secret. And until it became like a very big thing that I couldn't hide it a lot, and then it became like this thing that was weighing over me. And I still kept it like a little secret, because I thought I was just like a weird person, I didn't know what to do, until my sister, she started to do the same, and she didn't know. I've never told her about my little secret because I was hiding it so well. And and when she started doing it, she didn't hide it very well because she didn't care a lot about the social image. And actually she ended up knowing that this was a disorder, and it was her who told me about it. And so I knew that I had a disorder, I'd say like 4 years after it started. So I self-diagnosed myself 4 years after, and then I was officially diagnosed 4 years ago.
Wow. Okay. That's a really young age to be dealing with these things. So, what are some common symptoms of trichotillomania? I mean, obviously there is like bald patches. If you see it there, then that's a giveaway sign. But are there any other common symptoms for it?
I'd say like it's something you do with the hands. So generally, like depending on which hand you use the most, like to do the disorder, generally like the hand just becomes restless. Like you just cannot rest your hand. Like I'm going to give you an example. Like I am a programmer, and like in order to code and to program quickly, I need my both hands. So generally I write with my both hands, but sometimes I can feel that like I have a hand which is like the right one for me, that's doesn't my hand like stops kind of like typing. My hand just like wants to go to my hair, like this is my favorite like let's say favorite pulling area. So like my hand goes like in a very automatic way, unconscious way towards this area, just like touching myself. So I think it's characterized by like a restlessness of your hand, to the point that you might feel that you are losing control of your hand. Like sometimes I'm just like uh, I just want to work and I need my both hands, and I just feel like I don't have this hand because I keep on surprising my hand, like going here. I just find myself going here. So I'd say, like, as a symptom, I can, like, if I see myself in front of myself, I will easily know that I am kind of like practicing my trichotillomania right now.
Okay, okay, makes sense. So the restlessness, bald patches, if you see, and you also mentioned that people with trichotillomania can pull hair from anywhere, like their eyebrows, eyelashes, their hair on the head, any areas that has hair on it. What were your like? Where would you get the impulses to pull the hair from? One is your head that you talked about. Yeah.
So it is mainly my scalp for me. It's always been the case. I gotta admit that I um, I might do my eyebrows like from time to time. I find myself doing that, but this is like very light to what it is in my scalp. But generally, it's like scalp related, and it affects these lateral areas. Generally, it's next like between the ear and like the central area. So for me it's like these two areas, they are yeah, it's where I feel the most urge to pull from. And actually, I just want to get back to the previous question because you asked me about symptoms, and I didn't. I think I didn't get it very well, so I answered a little bit in a parallel way. But about the symptoms, uh, like I'm going to base myself from my personal experience. So when it comes to me, symptoms are like bald patches. Um, I don't know, like I can show as like I'm open about it. But also, as I said, like there is the physical dimension and there is also the psychological dimension. So generally when I'm going through a very big crisis, intense crisis of trichotillomania, I generally close and I isolate myself socially, because I don't talk to, because I don't feel like I am worth much, and I feel like I cannot expose myself to people because I'm struggling to accept myself. So it becomes very hard for me to expose myself to people, to show up, to go to social events, and just this makes me at some time feel depressed, lonely, and yeah, like I just feel like not good in my skin. Also, actually, there is a very important thing, and it's also related to me and my own experience. Personally, for intense crisis of trichotillomania, for me they are already they are accompanied by insomnia. I have like I whenever I have like a strong urge to pull out my hair, I'm restless, and at night like I feel I can't sleep. I There is something in I cannot explain how, but like I just can't sleep. I just feel like I should do that, and sometimes I end up not sleeping for like 2 3 nights in a row because this was the only thing I was doing, and it makes me tired, exhausted, depleted, not having energy, um, and yeah, so I am. Let's say depleted psychologically and like mentally and socially and yeah, like yeah, it's like strong depletion and like questioning yourself and um yeah, like let's say I might end up being weird. And my friends generally they don't understand what's happening to me, but generally it's like really a part of a trichotillomania crisis.
Wow, that's a lot, honestly, and I can't even begin to imagine the shame and the stigma that one goes through it with trichotillomania. It must be difficult to explain it to people why you are behaving the way you are, or why you have this urge to pull out your hair, because there's just so much stigma around it. It's like, oh, you can just maybe stop doing it, but it's not that easy. Like, you can't just stop it. But wow, that's I want to talk about so much with you, but before, like, to start off with, I want to know, so you mentioned that there are times when you feel depressed because of your tendencies to pull out hair, and it gets so extreme to the point that you pull out of social events as well. So how do you, like, have you? What about your social circle? Like, do your friends and family know about your condition? How did they react to it when they got to know?
Okay, that's a very important question for me, as I've been closeted like let's say my whole life. I've been dealing with it my whole life on my own, and it's like it's ironical because um, my own mother dealt with trichotillomania, and my sister as well. So my mother and my sister they were open about it, and I like my mother used to wear a scarf. My sister she cuts her hair short, but personally I always hid it, even from my mother, from my father, from my parents, from my there was only my sister and a best friend who really knew about it in my whole friend circle. And can you imagine like um the social like the burden that you're holding on your back, because you are dealing with something every day, and it's like a big part of who you are, of what you are, of how long you spend in front of the mirror trying to style your hair just so it doesn't look like something is happening there. So I spent my whole life hiding it because I felt like nobody will accept me while I'm like that because I'm weird. I do that to myself. And in fact, it was not that. It was just like I was not accepting myself. So I projected my own vision on myself, on other people, and I ended up living with it for like very, very long and keeping it like a secret. But 4 years ago, I have one day I was feeling like I had a strong crisis, and I remember it was after COVID. And since like on COVID in COVID times, it was like very bad for our mental health and our mental states because we didn't have like simulation, we couldn't go out, we couldn't meet people, and it just like made it the worst episode of my trichotillomania story ever. So I pulled out all my hair. I didn't have any hair, and like I was like fully bald with like just little areas of hair. So it just like started to become like super super big. It took like a very very big dimension, and I was thinking that the fact that I'm hiding that, it makes it like just very hard for me, and sometimes it just felt like I couldn't bear it. I can't bear that actually. So I just like wrote an Instagram post where I talked about it very openly, and I was so surprised about with the amount of support, of love, and yeah, like of I had just like love and support and admiration for what I am. And it was ironical because I was all the time thinking, oh, this thing like it's just so bad. But then I realized that actually I was creating this stigma even for myself. Like I just needed to talk about it, and people were there kind of like to accept it. So like since 4 years now, I'm quite open about it. I talk about it with my friends, with my family, and I think it had helps me to do it less, to improve it, and to gain confidence. Like not to let my confidence be impacted by my condition. Um, so my friends they are supportive. They have like a a very big role in like helping me prevent some crisis sometimes, etc. And also I want to say that like, you know, like some people will not accept you and they will think, oh, I am weird with like my hair, since like I am wearing wigs. Why am I wearing wigs? Why don't I just like accept myself? Like, you know, like some people might still like find some ways to you know, point out this thing. And like I want to think that um like I have a natural filter to filter out people that don't deserve my presence in their own life. So sharing it and talking about it makes it like a good way to filter out like caring and worthy friends, let's say.
100% agreed with that. Even with my diagnosis of bipolar, when I started talking about it on social media, there are surprisingly a lot of people who did accept it and who were very supportive of it. However, there were some people who were like, "Oh, they are scared just because like it's weird, it's stigmatized and everything." So it was a good filtering act for me to know who is someone that I can lean on to and who is someone that I can't lean on to and stuff like that. So yeah, it I'm so glad that you had the courage to come out and talk about it so openly on the internet. It's not an easy thing to do at all. I'm so glad that you are so open about it, and I am glad that it helped you in your journey as well with acceptance. Do you think that it has helped you with like accepting yourself for like where you are right now?
It's definitely did. Like every time I think about it, I think that my life has been divided like to two parts. Like there was the first part where I was like hiding this big secret with me, and I was thinking I am a disgusting person. And the second part where I just like opened up and I said to the world, "This is me. I didn't choose to be like that, and I am yet like full of love. I'm a human. Like I am still the same person. I'm just like talking about it and like saying, yeah, please, yeah, help accept me." And because I'm like here, I'm accepting myself finally. So I feel like, you know, it's a feedback loop. Like
Yeah.
you you like, you know, like we keep on saying like, yeah, it's important to be authentic, to love yourself, to be independent from what people like think of you or how they look at you. but but I think that's how people look at you, and like it helps you become like some the way of the person you want to become. So what I'm trying to say here is that um the fact that you can see clearly with eyes open that like people are supporting people, they don't think of you as like a monster. Like it helps you build confidence, and then the more you build confidence and the more you say, I am accepting myself the way I am, I am not ashamed of what I am, it makes people look more at you with more acceptance. So I think it's like a very important feedback loop that helps you like build an identity and build like a strong self-esteem. So I really think it was like a changing point in my journey with trichotillomania.
Amazing. That's so amazing to know. So one thing that I'm curious about. So now that you have come a long way from feeling so much shame and guilt and feeling like you said that you felt disgusted initially when you were hiding it, to someone now who's so open about it and so accepting of yourself. How do you deal with the stigma that comes with it? How do you deal with the shame that comes with nicotine?
Actually, like yeah, okay, I'm not going to pretend that I'm like totally immune to that, to be honest. I just want to tell like a little story, and which is like super funny. You know, in Morocco we have steam baths, and like you go there, it's like public bath, and you are with like a lot of women in the same room. And like I at that time, like I remember I went to this steam bath, and like I remember like women that were like sitting next to me, they would like change their place because they will think it will be something contagious, I will give them some disease. I have like a, yeah, like they just like, because I had like bald patches, and yeah, like people would just like run away, you know. And I remember it was yeah, it was like a little bit um yeah, like I didn't know how to take it back then. I was like, sometimes I would just like sit and cry and think, oh my god, like I am that bad, so that's people like go and run away. But like I think um it all depends on the perspective you look at it. So I was like, afterwards I just uh uh like I'm trying like to make fun of this story, because I'm like, okay, when you go to a steam bath, and generally you cannot find a spot, and I go there and everybody leaves and leaves me the spot. So in the end, like you can, I can like change the perspective of it and like make make fun of it, I think. Yeah, like otherwise, like if you start dramatizing it and like um making a big deal, like it will just like never, yeah, it will like never end. Like you will go into like a vicious circle of bad thoughts. So yeah, I think with the stigma, it's like sometimes like depends on your mental states, depends on how your mood, etc. It could like either affect you on a very like bad way, or you could just like think, yeah, like you can't be accepted for what you are, not only because of trichotillomania, but like maybe because you're a human, maybe because like you look like that or like that. So I think like, yeah, it's just like another characteristics that adds up to what people might accept you or not accept you for. And it's important to think about it that way, and to make I don't know, make fun of it, and maybe just like feel empathy towards these people who they are not, maybe they cannot be opening up enough to understand and to ask, and they just like yeah, they just like rely on appearance to make like fast conclusions and decisions. Okay, so this is like the first part of like how I try to rationalize it and think about it. It's not like all the time easy,
Yeah.
but but also like the fact that I generally wear wigs. Like I can like, why I do wear wigs or like extensions, because generally like I try not to have access to my hair. I try to hack myself by hiding my hair and like just having hair that's not mine, so that's if I want to touch and access. And the fact is that wigs, they don't all the time look natural. You look like you are having like a crazy style, etc. And like for example, here I'm like having dreadlocks, because I realized it was the like recently it's the best hack I've found so far. And so like when I go to a job interview or something, like I am all the time asked about my hair. Why is my hair like that? And uh and yeah, sometimes I would like openly say, and sometimes I just like think, I don't want to be in some settings where I'm not comfortable enough to be with my hair. Like if I am asked about my hair and I need to justify my style, then like for me it's like already a red flag, and I don't really want to go there. but but yeah, I think like, yeah, there is a lot of stigma because people keep on asking, what's going on with your hair, what do you keep on changing it, why did the color change, why did the length change? So yeah, I think like people like ask a lot of questions. And yeah, and when you say that like, yeah, I have a disorder, etc., I think they just like think, yeah, I don't know, like
That
they
helps.
might think that.
That helps, right? With the wig.
Sorry.
The wig helps, right?
Yeah, like at least for my case, it helps a lot. Like, like it's not perfect. I have like big areas where they are like totally bald, but like this hack is good because it's like has got a lot of volume, so it's just like hides all the bald areas. And yeah, like sometimes the bald areas like show up. And yeah, like I don't know, I just feel like um like, okay, I'm trying to like, when people sometimes depending on the person, like I think you need to adapt how much you open up and how much you are being yourself depends on the person that's in front of you. And like sometimes I would just say that yeah, it's my style, or like I would either open up, or I would just like say, no, it's on purpose, it's a style. And I would just like and people would say, so yeah, I think you can really like work around these ways of like stigma, but I can really understand that it shouldn't be the same for everyone. Like it depends on people.
No, yeah, 100% agree. So You mentioned that you saw a psychiatrist a couple of years back. I wanted to know your journey with seeking the right help. How hard was it to get the right help? Because it's not something that talked about most. So, like, is it difficult to get the right help for you for trichotillomania?
Yeah, actually, since people like, I think, yeah, it's logical. People don't talk about it, so there isn't enough incentive for like research areas to research for it, and like it ends up translating itself to not enough help is like available for like people dealing with this disorder. So generally, like, yeah, like first time I started to seek help, like it was some years ago, with the of course with a psychiatrist and a psychologist. I'd say uh like in terms of like in the realm of like as the psychiatrist, generally it's like just like trial and error, like trying antidepressants and like, yeah, checking what might help, like sometimes deciding to deal with anxiety as well, like but I would say that like the most important part of dealing with trichotillomania is already uh, psychotherapy first, because I think psychotherapy helps you understand the dynamic of your disorder, because it's like a personal thing and it's really varies from one person to another, and what helps some people is not necessarily what helps another person. um, so what I want to say here is that I think psychotherapy was like of a very very big help for me, and especially CBT technique. So I what how I started like addressing it for the first time. I started like seeking help with professionals was like to keep a journal where I had to frequently write every time I did it. When did I do it? Like describe the context I was in, and describe my thoughts and my behavior that goes with it. So I think with this, like tracking yourself, like in a very disciplined way, I think it was very important for me to kind of like detect patterns and define the dynamic of my disorder. And it was this what like made me like seek proper help. So I think that like seeking help is very very important. At least it's for me, it was for me, it's still the case because I'm still pursuing therapy. So I think, yeah, like tracking it, keeping a journal, and like being mindful of the disorder, I think it's a key to deal with it, like not necessarily cure it like you but just like to take it into control, like to know what triggers it, when does it happen, did you sleep enough the day before, in which context you are in, are you looking at a computer, are you alone, are you with friends? So yeah, I think therapy helps you define the all the characteristics of your disorder, and it's like, I think, very very important. The only issue here is that it requires a lot of discipline, and you need like to really be in a in a like a procedure, like in a mental state where you wanting to change, like that you are accepting yourself and you are like really wanting to change it, like not necessarily change it means like get rid of it, but at least like yeah, take things in control. So I think therapy is very very helpful, at least it was for me. And also like meds and drugs, I'd say that it's mainly like trial and error, because we need to first know like what causes it, like is it when you are in moments of anxiety, was it like a depression? And like recently I was officially diagnosed with ADHD, and and actually it's made like a lot of sense from like the discussions that I had with my therapist and the psychiatrist, like it's made a lot of sense that like these things were like tightly linked, ADHD and trichotillomania, because like my restlessness, my willing like to move like in a very excessive way would like like this might cause the fact that I want to channel my thoughts and like to do like something repetitively. It could like soothe my nerves. So it's like very important to seek help, because you it helps you understand what triggers it. And I think also with like understanding it enough, like you develop more empathy and acceptance towards it, because you realize that it's not coming from you. It's not that you are a bad person, but like it's mainly your environment, how you are, how your brain functions, hormonal imbalances, and all this you cannot know it on your own. You need like to be assisted, and like yeah, you need to seek like professional help for that. So it's not like the perfect thing, like you will go and like your therapist has seen like thousands of you every day, and like they have a, it's like you will go, you will try things, you will see how it goes. And you, I think the hardest thing is like to remain disciplined, to keep on wanting to do it. And so I think it's a lifelong process in which you need to participate, but not alone. It's not the easiest, I think. Like with my ADHD, I think it was like quite easy compared to trichotillomania. Like I was diagnosed, and then I was prescribed drugs, and meds, and actually and it worked. Like I just felt like I had a problem. I treated it with a solution. With my
Yeah.
therapist, we're trying to work on like other aspects, but like it felt like it was very easy to me. But like with trichotillomania, compared to that, it's like less easier. But I still think that's it's valuable, the help.
What has been your biggest takeaway from therapy?
Take away from therapy, huh? Actually, like I'm not going to lie to you, like it depends on, yeah, like I yeah, I'm not disciplined the whole time. So like yeah, sometimes like I am saying things, it doesn't mean that like I am applying it. I'm trying to apply this like as much as I could, but like yeah, it's not like as I said, it's a lifelong process. And I'm not like you know, I'm not like, I don't have like crazy insights. I am like it keeps on changing, it's dynamic. But like right now, therapy helped me to know myself. I'd say like to know that I'm a person who is mentally vulnerable, to accept it,
Mhm.
and to be nice to myself, and to sometimes uh, that it's okay to treat the symptoms and not the causes. Like you should treat the cause, not the symptoms. But also like that we need to also try our best to work on the symptoms. Like for example, I know that like as a like with ADHD, like I can get like overwhelmed. Like there are some times when I just like I get super overwhelmed, because I accept a lot of things. I want to do a lot of things at the same time. I am super ambitious, and it doesn't help because I just keep on saying yes, pushing myself. And like there are some periods where I'm just like super overwhelmed, and it just like it makes me like mentally like, yeah, like I am functional, but like mentally I feel like I'm distracting myself. So like therapy made me realize that I'm reaching to that point, and makes me like made me detect that and say, okay, now I really gotta slow down. So I'd say, yeah, like therapy gives you like reflexes to kind of like anticipate in advance a pattern that will happen to you, and that happened to you in the past, and that like makes you feel bad afterwards. Like it makes you anticipate these patterns and like react properly to them. So now if I'm like super overwhelmed, like I would just like not feel ashamed saying actually I'm going to have a rest, and I'm not going to participate in that activity, for example, because I need a rest right now. So yeah, I think it's mainly working on reflexes to have control into your life, and to be mindful of every situation, and to, I think I'd say like it gives you a third person point of view, where you look at yourself from like a side, and like check in and say, no, 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 you're not going to do that, instead of just like going on like autopilot mode and just like going and just looking at the world from your first person field of view.
That does help. I mean, therapy does make you very self aware. If you do the work, you need to do the work for it to be effective, that is for sure. I'm so glad that therapy has helped you, come into terms and has helped you even with ADHD. So, like, are there any other treatments that you have tried for trichotillomania?
So I'd say that, like, there are some things that I have tried personally and that they help me. Yeah, like I wouldn't like qualify them as like treatments, as there is no science backed up to it. But like personally, like I think a very healthy lifestyle, not like very, just like, yeah, fairly healthy lifestyle makes it like not go um, makes it not go crazy. So I'd say, like, for example, it's as stupid as it sounds, but like if I eat a lot of sugar, I pull a lot, and I think this was like backed up by science. In fact, there are studies that show that. But like like not eating sugar, not indulging like in very very sugary, in very very processed food, um, exercising regularly, to uh, yeah, like to kind of like get rid of toxins and to get like to balance a bit hormones. um so there is this, surrounding yourself with good and accepting people. I think it's like yeah, like it might sound ridiculous, but like it's really a life changer. Like when
Yeah.
you are surrounded by people who accept you and who love you, I think it makes you feel stronger and you want to work on yourself and not like to let yourself be a loser, kind of like this bottle. um, Mindfulness meditation, so I think like it really helps you to be more mindful of other things. Like it's like a little bit, it goes with this self-awareness building. So like yeah, I think mindfulness like really helps you to relax, to and to be mindful. Like for example, it could be related to a lot of things, but like I have this exercise, like when my trichotillomania urge is very strong, that I just do a mindful exercise. I close my eyes and I imagine myself I am doing it, just like try like to yeah, to be mindful of these things and not just like do things and be on autopilot. So I think mindfulness meditation is very very helpful. Or like I would just like close my eyes and like think just of these spots, and like just feel how it feels, like feel how the urge is, like try to define the urge in my head. I think it's like very important to look at it. And there is another thing for me, which might like sound I don't know if anybody has talked about it before, but like I used to have a PMDD. And like my trichotillomania, like I noticed this pattern that my trichotillomania would get like very very bad, like it was like correlating like in a very accurate way with my with my premenstruation, with my menstruation cycle. So what I've done is that I am taking like I'm taking a contraceptive pill, like for like mental health reasons. And I am not like on a continuous way. Like what I mean is that I am not having my menstruation. So like I wonder, like it's like a trade-off.
Yeah.
So the fact that I am not getting my menstruation, I wonder like how it will affect my health like in the future. But like I had to choose between like taking control over my trichotillomania, or like yeah, taking some physical risks, although there are no studies that prove that it's like bad for health or anything, but it's a recent invention. So we still don't have no clue. So what I mean is that by not having a menstrual cycle, I feel better. I think it helps my trichotillomania a lot.
That's actually a lot of ways to curb trichotillomania. There's no cure for it yet, right?
Sorry?
There's no cure for it yet, right? Like it's manageable, but there's no cure, right?
No, I like to be honest. Like, okay, so actually, we need to be careful because, like, I keep like I'm part of like a lot of support groups, like on Reddit, on Facebook, on Instagram. Like, I'm part of like many support groups. So I try to follow very closely what's these people like their stories and how do they feel, and generally like I have this feeling, like I don't know how of a conclusion is that people like are dealing with it all their lives. They like you can just try to take control over it, or like and accept yourself and try to make it like less impact your life less. But like to cure it, I wish we can find something. Although like I have like some months ago I was checking on some studies, and I've seen a study about like a brain machine interfaces, that like you can, for example, in the future, I hope in near future, you can put an interface, and it will detect the urge and it will like delete it, suppress
Oh
the
wow,
urge.
interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, like I hope this will be like a kind of like a permanent solution, like that will help you like live without it. Although I assume that you will need to like keep this positive on you or something. So so yeah, I think no, there is no like successful like happy ending stories. But also we need to be careful about the reporting bias, because people who report on internet are generally people who are struggling, who are in despair, etc. So like my source is like what I read and what I see, and generally it's people who have problems who come and report, and people who are managing it, they are kind of like like far from the lights. So yeah, I think that's it's not curable, and that we should just like learn how to live with it. I think it should be the right question, at least right now.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I hope that there is like a cure for it soon enough in the future with the way technology and medicine is like advancing. I hope to see a cure for it pretty soon. We are coming towards an end of the episode, but before we do that, what's your one piece of advice for someone who has been diagnosed with trichotillomania?
My advice for someone who has been diagnosed with trichotillomania actually is to seek help, to not to not I know it's like hard to be done than to be said, but like my advice is like to read stories, to realize that they are not alone, to accept that they are not alone, and that's it's a disorder. It's outside of our control. We didn't choose this, and yet we can live with it, and that's um like to try to work on themselves, so that they like I mean people that's who are diagnosed with trichotillomania, they try to work on themselves to accept themselves, because I think the moment you accept yourself, like the society accepts you, people accept you, you can talk more open about it. um and like not to think, like not to I'm going to talk with a you, because it will be personal. So you, the person who is diagnosed with trichotillomania, you need to know that you're not alone. You need to know that it's a disorder, that it's got causes, it's studied, and there is hope that one day we might cure it. So go seek help, accept yourself, talk about it. uh, don't be alone. uh, try your best to to raise awareness about it, to talk about it, and accept yourself, and know that uh, it is not necessarily a bad thing. It is it is just like a part of what you are, and you can make a good thing out of it. I always um, I always think to myself, maybe it's like a way of uh, like seeing the silver line in this. But like I think to myself that I am sometimes I'm lucky to have trichotillomania, because to me it's like a good excuse to change my hair and like to just like buy whatever wig I want, do like have like different hairstyles. Like I just feel like if I didn't have this, if it was not part of my identity, I wouldn't have explored this. And it's just like amazing to yeah, like to experiment with your hair, like to yeah, you can see like positive part of it. It's a strength. It makes you different, unique and authentic. And yeah, there is no shame about it. It's like I want to think, if it's a bug, make it a feature, and by making it a feature, it could be like yeah, talk about it, be more open, inspire people around you. And yeah, this is how it goes, like little by little, until you will realize that yeah, you are accepted, and you are beautiful, and you're good the way you are. So take it slow, have a good time with your trichotillomania, and yeah, accept yourself,
Love
I'd
that.
say.
Acceptance is something that comes, after a lot of time, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with. So I hope that this resonates with people, and take your time with it. There's no rush for it, and I hope that someone out there who is struggling with trichotillomania, comes to the acceptance of their disorder sooner than later, so they can enjoy life more, and face less social stigma and less isolation, and just exist and just be, because you're beautiful the way that you are, and this disorder doesn't need to define you in any way whatsoever. Thank you, Wafa, so much for being on the podcast and for sharing your journey with us, for being so intimate with us. And I hope that this reaches out to the right audience out there. Thank you so much for taking your time and energy to be here.
Thank you, thank you a lot, Avantika. It's my pleasure. I'm just going to, yeah, to seize this opportunity and to say that I would like to have impacts. I would like to change my life, of course, and I would love to change like people, like other people's lives. People, I mean, people who are dealing with trichotillomania. So I want to. So I am a digital entrepreneur, and I really want to make use of my tech knowledge and competences in that field. So I developed an app called Be Aware, and it's connected to a device, and it can track your hands. It's like in an automatic way, and like take actions, like talk to your friends, warn you like in a moment of crisis, or just like register, like keep track of the logs, so that you can talk about it with your psychiatrist, etc. And I've done that because, as I told you, I was lacking discipline to work on it, and I think that there are other people who are lacking discipline to do that. So I just want to like ask people if they are interested to contribute with me in this project. That's like, actually it's open source, it's on my GitHub. If there are some people who want to contribute in this project, who want to give me some help, I would really appreciate it, because I might not, it might never see the day if I'm alone. So I would love it if there are some people who want to make use of their knowledge and to participate in like developing a solution that helps people with trichotillomania. I'm here.
That's actually such a noble cause. That's such a noble way to do it. I hope that people, do reach out to her. Where can people find you?
Actually, on my Instagram,
Mhm.
Wafabulous. You can share it in the description, I think.
I'll be
Yeah.
sharing her Instagram on the. But for the listeners out there, could you just let us know what your Instagram is?
Wafabulous. It's Oufabulous. Good luck.
Right, I'll be linking it down on the description below. And
Perfect. That will be the best.
yeah, that's amazing. And you can reach out to her anytime you feel like it. You can reach out to us at beautifulyou.pod. Our email and Instagram will be linked down below as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode. I love you. Bye.